What is going on YouTube? This is Acid Roots. Welcome to part 20 of Let's Play Donkey Kong Country 3. And in this episode, we're going to stay stuck in the lightning level. So yeah, this is the second episode of attempting it. And kind of the concept about it is there's going to be some trial and error. And really, I would say that episode lasts throughout pretty much the rest of... There might be one more stage, I don't really remember. I know that there's at least 5 stages per world, and this feels like the third one. So there might be a little bit of stage 4 in the next one, but this is kind of... Yeah, this is just kind of a pain in the ass stage. It's creative, and I see it from the developer's standpoint. I'm just seeing the creativity behind it, but it just is kind of... It's pretty grating, teeth gnashingly annoying, to be able to say. But... throughout this episode, I start to get some of the trial and error process down. I mean, it's just something that you kind of get to the rhythm as you go. You kind of have to think on your feet as far as trying to get that done. But it should create pretty good entertainment, crank up Spotify a little bit, that type of stuff. Think about ordering pizza, something like that, just standard stuff if you haven't already. If you started this playthrough, if you've been watching it for a few days and you got to this episode now, you're on the 20th one. It's kind of the concept. It's just a lazy summer day right now as this originally came out, and this is kind of the concept. If you're watching this like in November, I do like, winter vacations are as dope as summer vacations and that type of stuff, and not just from a student aspect, but just kind of saying like winter kind of like holidays are just as great as summer ones. Or if you're watching this like around cooler weather and the jingling of the holly and all the jingling of the jingle bells is all out and that type of stuff, just being able to say it's got some good moments for that. So this can be a winter playthrough as much as anything. Like when I think of like a Let's Player like Nintendo Capri Sun or something, I enjoyed watching like his one of his main projects. Like when you think of like Majora's Mask or Ocarina of Time or one of those big games that you have to get 100% in that he did way back in the day, I would watch those in November. This was a good time of year to do it. I just like watching some of his big name projects, his 50, 60, 70 part projects in like November. It's kind of the thing. Just make it a tradition. Kind of, get like 12-pack of beer or something like that if you're of the age to do it. A pizza from Domino's, something like that, just where the cheese is just dripping off. Just let me entice you with some food porn. Just look up a photograph in Google of just a pizza with like pepperoni pizza with the cheese dripping off, and it just makes your mouth salivate and that type of stuff. You just want to take a nice thick bite out of it and that type of stuff. Just really get like some cheesy jalapeno sauce, something like that, one of those nice good ranches or something like that. Whatever you have pizza with, just being able to say, I eat pizza with ranch. It's real good sauce to dip it in. That's kind of the concept about it. But yeah, it's just kind of perfect project for that, man. But yeah, I'm still trying to figure this stage out. So yeah, you definitely want to stay out of the water. That's just not a good idea in this stage. They put the water here purposefully for maybe in hopes that you'll think, hey, the water won't have anything happen. But that's a bad idea. I mean, pretty much you want to use Dixie Kong for this part just because the lightning always happens to be extra sinister in water. So it's just kind of the thing. So, but yeah, I just kind of look after it. This is just basically like a trial and error episode. This is just more standard monotony, which is kind of interesting that this game kind of chose that, because I don't recall like Donkey Kong Country 2 having as much monotony. I mean, maybe like the final boss with that flying helicopter ship thing, but other than that, I just would have to say for the most part it was a pretty straightforward game. I mean, the level design of that one, the second Donkey Kong Country, was just so much more kind of straightforward, and the difficulty just did not ramp up. I do think that this is the toughest one. Like the first Donkey Kong Country just tested the waters and started off that way, and was just kind of like a more kind of advanced version of something like Super Mario World. It's a companion piece to that game. But I just look after this one really tried to trigger situations in games that just kind of broke new grounds and tried to get you a reason to wanting to mess with this. And this is kind of thing, pick up the Super Nintendo instead of like the PlayStation or something like that. This kind of the thing. You just look after it like This is definitely a game that got overlooked a lot, and it's just good to go back and appreciate it. Depending upon your age, doesn't matter if you're like 12 or 16 or 23 or something, it's just a good one to kind of have just within the vault of knowledge, just being able to say. I mean, obviously, I think at this stage, enough folks know about Donkey Kong and who he is and that type of stuff, but really, this was a real kind of spin-off game that just is this kind of obscure in a lot of ways. It's definitely, I don't even find this game to be secondary anymore. I mean, maybe like 12 years ago it was, but this is just kind of, the obscurity of this is this kind of a game that if you see this at like a garage sale, you get it. This kind of thing. I mean, it's kind of a finicky game and it can piss you off, but it's worth the investment, just being able to say, because it does have some value towards it. But really, and nowadays, I don't even see like garage sales even having Super Nintendo games. For the most part, you're going to be getting like Xbox 360 games and maybe the original Xbox or something like that, or PS2, some of those. Getting like Madden 2006 or maybe like, you know, Max Payne or something like that if you're lucky. But I just can't think of like the games that would be at garage sales because they're just so much different anymore. I doubt that you would see like Xbox One and PS4 games, which you might, but yeah, it's just these are relics. That's just really the thing about it. This is a good one, but I still feel like it's just not a even secondary game anymore. I don't want to say it's like full-blown tertiary, but it's in the area code of that. That's what I have to say. So yeah, I just kind of look after it. Just a regular mellow kind of June day. It's hot, you know, it is definitely hot out in that sort of situation, but around these parts, summer's been kind of lazy. I just kind of look after it. It's just kind of been where, and I mean, around these parts, it gets muggy. If you don't know what that means, it just means humid, but just kind of amongst the concept of just being able to say, like, you know, yeah, it's just kind of humid, this kind of thing. But so I do have plans. Eventually, when I beat this game, I've got something in mind for what's going to happen next. There are still a few more Super Nintendo games that I want to do. I mean, I might try more PlayStation games, but little known fact, if you didn't know, I originally intended on doing Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, but I tried playing like the first stage and couldn't even get past like the first mission incentive in that one, so I just realized that's probably not my cup of tea, is doing a game like Tony Hawk's Pro Skater. It's a great game. I owned it for the Nintendo 64. It's definitely a highlight. This really is an awesome game, but I just don't have the finaglement to figure that one out. And this lightning's really kicking my ass right now. It really happens to be a thing. And just that, you know, dying that quickly was really starting to piss me off. I just feel like it's just being extra vicious. But, yeah, I just look after it like, so I do have some games mapped out as far as what's going to happen. There's still a few more Super Nintendo games I can beat, and I just look at that concept as far as what to do with it. But, I mean, it's not like there's another 15 or 20, so it's just kind of, I said this like even a couple years ago, that the games that I surely have the skill set to be able to do. I mean, there may be some that I can at least get to like stage 3, 4, or 5 or something. But apart from role-playing games, which I really do not want to do right now, just because it just takes a lot of gumption and just willpower to get those done, I'm just kind of, you know, it's just kind of more of a tricky kind of situation. Like, I know I need to complete, like, Mystic Quest, but it's kind of, you know, I just run out of the attention span for wanting to do it, and this is kind of the thing. But it is an awesome game. It's definitely one of the better, if not one of the best games for the Super Nintendo, despite its kind of gravity. But so yeah, once we get Donkey Kong 3 wrapped up, and by that I mean once I beat the boss in this world, we'll start up a new project. I might do a couple more episodes, but I'm not going to get 103%. There's another episode after this that has the lightning stage. You just saw a game over here. So get ready for part 21, which is another quickie, and then we'll tackle the last little bit of the game. So it just depends on how much of an annoyance this is that this is going to be. But anyhow, subscribe for more fun. Thanks for watching, and have a wonderful night. And I'll see you next time in the next one.